Hey YA nerds, my name is Kaye and I like to read a lot, and welcome to another week of Kaye Reads a Lot. Yes, I am in a different place than I was last week. Yes, you can now see my entire room. No, I'm going to choose not to be ashamed about it. I know I live in a mess. It's also the holidays, so a lot of that mess is because of that, and we're just gonna leave it there. Do not judge me. Anyway, welcome to another week. Sorry I didn't update last week. It was mostly because it was Thanksgiving and I didn't think to do a books I'm thankful for video up until this morning, a week later. So here we are. And this week I want to talk to you all about Bone Gap, which is by Laura Ruby, which is a really excellent book. That is a magical realism book, and I keep switching hands because I can't see myself as I'm recording this, so we're just going to keep doing this. As you can see from this lovely, beautiful cover, it has won the Prince Award, and it has been nominated for the National Book Award. It's been nominated for a bunch of other awards too. However, I am super duper bad at writing these things down, and so I don't have it in front of me, so you'll just have to take my word for it. It was also published March 3rd, 2015, so only 5 years ago, not too shabby. And it's 373 pages long, so it is kind of long. Not so much so than your normal things, normal books, normal adult books, but it is, you know, long-ish for a YA book. So you guys can also now probably hear my cat even more than usual, and you'll be able to see her in the background, so at least you have that to comfort you with this weird, crazy background going on right now. So Bone Gap. I feel like I'm doing aliens. So Bone Gap follows Finn, Rosa, and the people of Bone Gap, which is apparently a town. And one day, Rosa is kidnapped, and Finn sees it happen, but he cannot tell anybody what the guy's face looks like. And it's gotten to a point now that she's been missing for enough time that people have dismissed Finn and dismissed his claim that she's been kidnapped and have instead decided that she's just run away. Because apparently that's what happens in Finn and Finn's brother's life. I'm sorry, Sean. Finn and Sean's life. People leave them. People abandon them. And according to the town, Rosa is no better than the other people who have left them. Now, that's not the truth, and as the reader, you kind of know the truth, but you have to kind of discover, you know, what's going on with Finn and what happened to Rosa as you go through the story. It's magical realism for a number of reasons, but I think the reason I like to talk about is the fact that when Rosa is stolen, she's brought to a house that she can't escape from. It's not that there's no windows or doors, it's just that none of those windows or doors can be opened. Even if she unlocks the windows and doors, they won't open. And the strange man who's stolen her is really weird. He's stolen her because he wants her to fall in love with him. But that's not how that works. And he seems to be using some kind of weird magic land logic that will make him, you know, make her fall in love with him. And, you know, you kind of like follow Finn around for the most part, trying to, you know, solve the mystery of Rose's disappearance on his own, but also trying to like get over her, because what if the town is right? What if she really left them? So it's a very interesting, heartbreaking story. Yeah. And like I said, it's magical realism. It's got unreliable narrators, which is like my bread and butter, really. Especially with YA. So pretty interesting stuff, I think. So tropes for this, there's not that many, there's only 6, and as usual, I will describe for you what each trope means with regards to this book, and then there will be definitions down in the description down below. Once you've done watching the video or during the video, you can read them. I don't care, I don't control your life, you can do whatever you want. As a reminder, these tropes were created by me and some librarians and some friends. Hi, Tessa. As we brainstormed tropes that apply to YA Lit, as well as some tropes that I've taken from TV shows, TV tropes, and fanfiction tropes as well. One day I will give this spiel and not trip over myself. So for Bone Gap, we have broken family units. Basically, Finn and Sean have been abandoned by their mother, and it's just the two of them living alone in a house together. And Rosa kind of becomes a part of their family, and then she's gone too. So that's that one. Dumb protagonist is actually Prodigy in disguise. Finn thinks he's stupid. Finn is told that he's stupid all the time. Finn is not stupid. Finn is actually really smart. Finn is smart in unconventional ways, and that's, yeah. Love triangles. Finn's kind of also in love with Rosa. Rosa's in love with Sean. Rosa and Sean are together. Finn needs to figure out what he's doing. Very awkward love triangle. Only one friend in the world. Finn becomes friends with somebody else whose name I'm completely blanking on, and it was not in the description I just read to myself, so I have no idea. I feel like it was like it was a girl. He meets a girl, they become friends, and there's drama that kind of gets between the two of them. And even the friendship that Finn has with Rosa, there's drama that gets between that too. So we also have switching point of view. The story goes back and forth between Finn and Rosa, their circumstances, their situations, what's going on between the two of them. And the last one is Youths in Danger, which I feel like I should take this off the tropes list because, like, every YA book is Youths in Danger. Every single damn one. All of the books. So it's silly to me. But basically, Rosa's in danger, Finn's in danger, Sean's fine, as far as I remember. But the fact that there's no one who can save them but themselves, that's kind of what Youths in Danger is like. And funnily enough, I love that I have the description for Youths in Danger as the young people in this book are constantly in danger. Good job, 3 years ago me. Good definition. I'm gonna have to change that, I think. So that's it for the tropes. If you think of a trope that I don't have, or you want to talk about the tropes, feel free to comment. I'm always looking for more things to talk about, obviously. And if you think I got one of these wrong, please tell me. It could be a fun little discussion. I'm not perfect. Nobody is. We as humans are very flawed, so I could be wrong about everything. Who knows? Read likes, it's the best part of the video. One day we're gonna have a theme song. Until then, just deal with me singing awkwardly at the camera. Read likes. Okay, so read likes. I like to describe. I used to do 2 books recommended to us from Goodreads and 2 books recommended to us from novelists, and then I changed everything a few weeks ago because why not? And now we do 1 read-alike from novelist, 1 read-alike from Goodreads, and 1 read-alike from me, a librarian whose job it is to recommend books to people. So you would think I would be good at this. Who knows? Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. So anyway, for Bone Gap, from Goodreads, we have, we have Sadie by Courtney Summers. Sadie is a really interesting book. I read it a few years ago, and it is about a young girl whose name is Sadie, whose little sister is kidnapped, and she goes off to try to find her little sister in order to save her. And 6 months after Sadie goes missing, looking for her missing sister, a podcast picks up Sadie's story. And the guy in charge of the podcast is kind of following in Sadie's footsteps as Sadie is following in her sister's footsteps to discover what happened to the two of them. So it's really interesting. You kind of have 2 narrators, just like in Bone Gap. You have 2 people who are, like, one person's definitely not super reliable. You have a mystery that needs to be solved, someone who's been kidnapped. So for once, Goodreads, good job. Sadie is just like Bone Gap. Bone Gap is just like Sadie. There's a lot of similarities. And I mean, the ending of one of them is more ambiguous than the other, and that's probably like the biggest difference between the 2 books. But other than that, really good rec, I think. From novelist, we have When the Moon Was Ours by Anne Marie McLemore, which funnily enough. Didn't I review that a few weeks ago? So that book is a magical realism book, where, I mean, the characters are not unreliable per se, so you don't really have that in common, but it is like the magic that's imbued into this world, that you kind of get that similarity between the two. Funnily enough, again, I actually agree with Goodreads' choice over Novelist's choice. Very strange. This has never happened to me, and I'm very conflicted about it. On another note, my pick for my book recommendation is called Challenger Deep, and that's by Neil Shusterman. And Challenger Deep is about a boy named Caden Bosch who thinks he's on a ship that's headed for the deepest part of the Earth, which is called Challenger Deep, and it is the southern part of the Marianas Trench. He's also still in high school, and he's living like this weird double narrative going on at the same time in this book. And so part of him believes that he's traveling down to Challenger Deep, and the other part of him believes that he's in high school dealing with high school things. And you kind of have to wade through what's going on with him. He's also an unreliable narrator. He also has some mental health issues going on. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that he's got schizophrenia. I think it's schizophrenia. It might not be. Now that I've said it, I'm not sure. The Goodreads description doesn't mention anything about the mental illness that he does have, just that he has a mental illness. And he's kind of dealing with that on his own and trying to figure out like how to get over that, or how to not fall to madness, pretty much. That's all from the description. That's not really my words. So yeah, I feel like that book has a lot of similarities with The Bone Gap. Have I read Challenger Deep? No. Is it on my TBR? Yes. How long has it been on your TBR, Kay? Oh, only 5 years. Oh, Kay, do you own this book? I sure do. Have I gotten to it yet? No, because I suck at reading books. I suck at reading books that I own. I don't know if you can see it. I also minimized it. Now, I mean, there's a kind of a pile back here you can kind of see, and that's just small. The pile's actually twice that size. One day we will get to it. It will happen. One day we will get to Challenger Deep. It will happen. I like Neil Shusterman. I tried to get into Unwind. I didn't super like it, but I do like the way he writes things. And so I know I'm going to like Challenger Deep. I just have to get to it. Okay. My review for Bone Gap. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I really, truly adored this book. I had a hard time putting it down when I read it 4 years ago for a book challenge that I did. Magical realism is super fascinating to me. It is really up my jam. I don't really see it around a lot, or at least I didn't a couple of years ago. You know, I try to get more into like those weird genres. It's hard though when you have a genre like magical realism where it's really not a big thing. So I really love, you know, all I had to say to my coworker to get this book in my hands was that I wanted magical realism, and she was pretty much like, here you go. And my friend Brian ended up buying this for me. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. Thank you, Brian. Especially since I keep gushing about this book and then recommended it to our D&D group, and all of a sudden he was like, here you go. I really did like that, you know, the book switched POV between Finn and Rosa. I enjoyed that, you know, the house was like weird. The man was like threatening but gentle. It was really strange. There's a very dream-like quality to it. And the characters are really relatable. I loved reading about their lives. The climax was really cathartic. There's a lot of good things to be said about this book. However, my only complaint about the book is that some of the chapters with Rosa were a little boring. Just a little boring. You know, like she's wandering around the house, like she was having interesting conversations with the man who kidnapped her, and so that was great. But a lot of her stuff was like, I'm gonna wander to this side of the house today. I can't open the door. I'm gonna wander to this side of the house today. I can't open the door. Like, and so that's my only complaint. And I do think in hindsight that maybe those like small, slower parts of the book kind of help build up the tension about what's happening with Rosa and what's happening to Rosa. So, but I still think 9 out of 10 is probably the best I'm going to give it. So that's Bone Gap by Laura Ruby. Feel free to tell me in the comments below if you've read it or you're going to put it on your TBR, you want to know more about it. And we can talk more about this. I can give you more recommendations if you'd like. But that's it for me for this week. And so I guess I'll just have to say, peace out, YA nerds.